do this.
Okay.
Ready?
Hey!
Okay. Hey guys!
Hey guys! It's Chris
And Nat.
and welcome to our first ever YouTube video.
Woo! So we are Mystery Repeats Itself. So basically we have a blog and it's about conspiracy theories, true crime, unsolved mysteries, mystery, and history.
And we do all the research. We use different resources, whether that's online or movie documentaries, TV shows, books. And we do all the research, we write about it, and we bring it to you guys.
So today we're going to be talking about the Kennedy curse.
Dun, dun, dun. So for those of you who don't know, the Kennedys are pretty similar to how England has like a royal family. They were very prominent coming up in the 50s and 60s.
The Kennedys have long been thought of as America's royal family.
That I will be worthy of your trust. We will carry the fight to the people in the fall, and we shall win.
They have also brought positive change to the world in often difficult times.
So basically this curse is centered around like all of the tragic things that happened to them, untimely deaths, like just all of the accidents. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about.
So a possible origin of the curse, which this isn't 100% true, it's just like theories. There was a writer who talked about how on one of Joseph Kennedy Sr.'s trips back to the US, because he would go back and forth between England and the United States for work, he, first of all, he was racist against Jewish people.
He believed like the Jewish question was like...
He was trying to help solve the Jewish question,
yeah.
which the Jewish question is, at that time in the 1940s, was where should we, the Nazis were trying to relocate the Jews before they started the concentration camps, which is absolutely horrible. So on one of his journeys going back to the United States, there supposedly was a Jewish rabbi in his room on the ship, and Joseph Kennedy would heard him praying. And he got offended by this, or he was just upset. I don't know what it was. It was obvious that he was racist. So he told the captain about this. And he was like, can you do something about his prayers? Can you get him to shut up because it's annoying, or whatever he said. And apparently the Jewish rabbi, there's like speculation that the Jewish rabbi put a curse on him and his family. Whether that's true or not, it's not 100%.
Okay, so we're going to start with why people think there's a curse, all of the accidents that happened to them, all of the deaths. The first one being in 1942. We're going to be looking at like our blog for reference because obviously we can't memorize all of them. So it was Rosemary Kennedy. She was the third and oldest daughter. She had a mental illness where, I don't know, do you know what mental illness she had?
No, like the thing is, it was back in the 1940s, and like no one was able to like really put like a diagnosis on it. So like for all we know, she could have been bipolar.
Yeah.
Something that could have been like really treatable today, but back in the 1940s, you know, who knows?
But they were embarrassed of her because her intelligence was apparently below average, and they tried to kind of hide her. She had temper tantrums. She got violent. So her father decided to have a lobotomy performed on her without the knowledge of the mother. If you don't know what a lobotomy is, it's basically a very intrusive surgery where they severed connections in your prefrontal cortex. This was used back in the day to treat mental disorders, but it was never proven to work. It actually had a lot of bad side effects, as you can imagine. Brain damage, people committing suicide after this, people's like personalities completely changed.
You're just a vegetable.
Yeah,
you become a vegetable.
So you could tell that he was pretty desperate to do something like this, to like change his daughter and like make her better. And that failed, and there were so many complications with that, and she did end up dying in 2005. So that's like the first incident that happened with the Kennedys.
And then in 1944, Joseph P. Kennedy Jr., who was the first oldest and the oldest son, was killed while on a mission in England during World War II. His friends were trying to convince him otherwise, like, please don't go on this. Like, it was basically a suicide mission. His plane was carrying actual bombs that were going to be dropped on the enemy. But he literally told his friends, I have to do it. So he did, and his plane ended up exploding, and he died because of that.
And then Kathleen Cavendish, which was another, she was another daughter. She was killed in a plane crash with her boyfriend, Peter Fitzwilliam. She was married before, and just mentioning this, her husband actually died in the war. That's why her last name is Cavendish. But yes, that's another sibling that died.
So JFK, the 35th president of the United States, was shot and killed in Dallas, Texas in 1963.
That's an unconfirmed report that the president was hit in the head. The president's wife, Jackie Kennedy, was not hurt. She walked into the hospital.
He was assassinated by supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald, but we have conspiracies with that too.
And his killer was actually killed before he could go to court.
The same year, Jackie was giving birth to their third daughter. She died of infant respiratory distress syndrome.
Oh wow!
So she was that child was born prematurely. So it's really sad.
So it was a very tragic year from the Kennedys in 1963. And then in 1968, a couple years later, Robert Kennedy, the seventh child, was also assassinated in California by, I think it's Sirhan, yeah. Sirhan. So that's already 3 siblings. So they were all like untimely deaths, unexpected, like super tragic.
Obviously, it was a different time in the 60s, like riding around in an open car. That would never happen today. Never happen today. But in 1968, Ted Kennedy lost control of his car. It wasn't ever like proven that he was drinking, but he was coming from like a campaign party. So, I mean, you can only assume. And he had a woman in his car. Her name was Mary Jo Kopechne.
Little over 1 mile away, the car that I was driving on an unlit road went off a narrow bridge which had no guardrails and was built on a left angle to the road. The car overturned in a deep pond and immediately filled with water. I remember thinking as the cold water rushed in around my head that I was for certain drowning. Then water entered my lungs and I actually felt the sensation of drowning. But somehow I struggled to the surface alive. I made immediate and repeated efforts to save Mary Jo by diving into the strong and murky current, but succeeded only in increasing my state of utter exhaustion and alarm.
But he left her in the passenger seat and she ended up dying. It's reported that he went back to his hotel room, went to sleep, and then didn't report it until the next morning. Now, this is like really sketchy whether or not he like blacked out or whatever. Like, it's just very interesting that he didn't call anybody sooner.
No, and they said like if he would have called somebody,
then she probably could have
lived.
Which is so sad.
Yeah, but like he didn't tell anyone. Maybe it's because he was drinking. He didn't want to get caught. Like, he just left her there. And he was the first Kennedy to actually address the curse.
Including such questions as whether the girl might still be alive somewhere out of that immediate area, whether some awful curse did actually hang over all the Kennedys.
Okay, so those were all of the accidents with the siblings, or just naming a few, but then also their kids died. Some of them died tragically. So both of Robert Kennedy's sons died. I don't know if he had more, but 2 of his sons died. One of cocaine overdose and one in a skiing accident.
And then John F. Kennedy's son, John F. Kennedy Jr., actually died in a plane crash in 1999 with his wife and his wife's sister. He was like known for, he really liked flying and he flew a lot. But there was one night where actually at the airport they tried to like convince him not to. Like it wasn't great weather out, but he still did it anyways, and they ended up crashing.
So that's like 3 plane crashes.
There's a lot of plane crashes, yeah.
Which is really scary.
It really is.
And then
Ted Kennedy actually almost died in a plane crash, but he was able to escape.
The plane actually crashed?
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I think the pilot and then one other man died, and I think him and then another gentleman were the only people to like make it.
For something like not so common, like plane crashes aren't that common, they had like 4 in the family.
It's just, that's crazy.
That's insane. And then most recently, and I'm sorry if I butcher this name, Saoirse Kennedy. She died of an apparent overdose, or I guess they realized it was an overdose, right?
Yeah, it was an overdose.
An overdose at the age of 22, and she was Robert Kennedy's granddaughter. So that's the most recent as 2019. This year, as recent as this year, things are still happening to this family, which is crazy. And also, just to mention, Jacqueline Kennedy lost 2 other children, so she lost 3 children in total. One from a miscarriage, one was a stillborn, and then the one we mentioned before, which is super tragic. And Marilyn Monroe, I don't know if you guys like read the conspiracies and stuff behind it, but there are so many conspiracies behind Marilyn Monroe's death and her apparent affair with John F. Kennedy.
And his brother.
Yep. I mean, that family was like famous.
They all were having affairs on their wives. Like, they were all womanizers, starting with their dad.
Yeah, and didn't their dad take like his mistresses on their trips?
On their
them?
Family trips, guys, on their cruise with the kids and everything, and the wife.
I can't even
And they would
imagine.
they all knew. They all turned a blind eye because of how powerful their husbands were. Like, it's insane.
That's crazy. But yeah, so Marilyn Monroe died of an apparent drug overdose as well, or prescription pills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of conspiracies behind that, how like John F. Kennedy was maybe behind it because he was having the affair, he didn't want it to get out.
Yeah. Or he had like the mob do it for him.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of things behind that, and just a lot of people associated with the Kennedys who died, like people who died in the plane crashes with the Kennedys and all of that. It's just crazy how much tragedy follows this family. I don't know how I feel. I feel like there could be a curse, like with all of the things that have happened to them.
Yeah, like it's just like, okay, so people say that like oh, they're a big family, like it's not that uncommon.
There's a bunch of big families, and you don't hear about them like this.
No, I have I have 27 cousins.
And
nobody's died. Nobody's died, guys.
Okay?
It's just freaking weird. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And like people say, oh, they're in the spotlight, but no, there's something else. There's something else. If not a curse, something.
Karma.
I don't know. Karma.
There
Probably
we go.
karma.
Okay, so just a little background information on us. I graduated with my journalism degree, and I just love writing. I love reading, writing blogs, researching things. And Christina?
I graduated with my history degree, and I love reading also, researching, writing. And me and Natalie as friends, we've just always loved conspiracy theories. We've always talked about like unsolved mysteries, true crime, and stuff like that. And the point of our YouTube channel and our blog is to just show you guys that there's so much more information out there than what the mainstream media is giving you.
Yeah, so we just encourage you to always question everything. That's what we do. Like, we never just believe the information we're given. We always question, do our own research, because that's important. Don't just believe like what you're given. So that's the point of this whole thing, this vlog, this YouTube video, is to give you a different take, a different perspective on events, unsolved mysteries, conspiracy theories, and stuff like that.
So what you guys tell us what you think. Comment down below. Do you think there's a curse, or do you think it's karma? What do you like?
Do you think
obviously, it's something.
Coincidence?
No, it's something.
Yeah.
Like, obviously.
Like, I don't. That much tragedy that happened to one family, like, and just all the conspiracy theories around all of like everything that happens to them. Like, I don't know if I believe in curses, but I mean, you can't rule it out.
No,
like,
and I wouldn't, because I mean, it just doesn't make sense. All these plane crashes, not only crashes and deaths, guys, but like assassinations, like people, like one of their sons lost a leg.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, it doesn't make sense for it just to be like,
oh, it's a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know. There has to be something else.
And like half the siblings died. Like, could you imagine a family of like 9 people and like 4 of the siblings died, their grandchildren, like most of them, like a lot of them are dead. It's crazy. So what do you guys think? Do you think that they're cursed? Let us know. And check out our blog. We have a lot more information about all of this. So it's mysteryrepeatsitself.wordpress.com. We'll put the link below. We have all the information there. And yeah, just let us know. Comment below. Let us know what you think.
Check out our next video coming out very soon. And every week or so, we'll have a new blog too. So make sure you guys are checking out both.
For sure. All right.
Chris and Nat signing out.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.